بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد. We have mentioned some issues, some matters regarding Ahlul Hadith wal Athar, the methodology of Ahlul Hadith wal Athar. And from the methodologies of Ahlul Hadith wal Athar is at-tadarruj fil ilm, is that you have at-tadarruj fil ilm, you take the knowledge tadarrujan, you learn the small masail before the major masail, and that you are patient within the path of seeking knowledge and you are not hasty. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, and you will find this statement by many of the Salaf, rahimahullah ta'ala, thus indicating the importance of this issue. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah ta'ala, he says, أول العلم النية ثم الاستماع ثم الفهم ثم الحفظ ثم العمل به ثم النشر. He says that the first stage in learning knowledge, al-ilm al-nafi', beneficial knowledge, that knowledge which is in accordance to the Kitab and the Sunnah ala fahmi salaf salih, in line with the teachings and the understanding of our pious predecessors, the Sahaba ridwanullah alayhim, then the first stage for the talib al-ilm is an-niyyah, tasheeh al-niyyah, that he rectifies his intention and that he does not study to show off. He does not study the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to gain status, riya'an, but rather he studies the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove that ignorance from him. And by having this niyyah, you will have rectified it. As Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, Al-ilmu la ya'dilu shay. Al-ilmu la ya'dilu shay. Knowledge, this al-ilm al-shar'i, nothing is equal to it. Nothing is equal to it. لمن صحت نيته, for the one whose niyyah is correct. If your niyyah is correct and you learn the knowledge of Islam, then that knowledge, nothing is equal to it. It's priceless. Then they asked him, how do we rectify our niyyah? He said, أن تنوي رفع الجهل عن نفسك وعن غيرك. That you intend first and foremost to remove ignorance from yourself and then from others. By having this intention, oh Allah, I'm learning the deen so that I may know what to do when it is required from me to do. And also I would like to empower my brothers. I would like to empower the people upon this blessed deen. When you have this intention, then that is what is considered as sihhatul niyyah, correct niyyah. And not that you study so that you may stand out and that you may be on the pulpit and that the people in the andar must turn to you, their sight and their vision must turn to you, and that they must give importance to you. You must do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the first step, ya talib al-ilm, is rectify your niyyah. أول العلم النية ثم الاستماع. And then you listen, then you learn, and you keep quiet. Don't be hasty. As Sufyan al-Thawri in his statement of this affair, he says, أول العلم الصمت. The first stage for the talib al-ilm is that he keeps quiet. Don't enter into matters which does not concern you. Know your place. وَلَا تَقْفُ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ. Do not enter into matters which does not concern you. مِنْ حُسْنِ إِسْلَامِ الْمَرْءِ تَرْكُ مَا لَا يَعْنِيهِ. From the excellence of the Islam of a believer, of a Muslim, is that he leaves, he stays away, he abandons that which does not concern him. You only started to learn the deen of Allah, you don't even know Arabic, but you're speaking about masail which are way beyond you. And this hadith is a hadithun, يعني من جوامع الكلم. And it is a methodology for success. That whatever you do, know your place. Know your place. Know your place within your marriage as a husband. Know your place within your marriage as a wife. Know your place within the family as a son, as a daughter. Do not transgress the boundaries. Know your place as a talib al-ilm. When you can speak, what you can speak. Even the alim, you must know his place. What about you? Ya tuwaylib al-ilm. Oh, small student of knowledge. What about you? You want to enter into matters which are beyond you. Know your place as a ami, as a person from the general public. Yes, we know that the deen is beloved to us, and it is something which is close to our hearts, so we become, we have this hirs and this zeal for the knowledge. But that should not make you speak in the deen of Allah without knowledge. Then he says further, ثُمَّ الْفَهْمِ. Then understanding. Understanding is important. And the understanding is the understanding of our pious predecessors. That is the understanding that we give preference to. If a person comes and he understands something in opposition to the understanding of our pious predecessors, the Sahaba, Tabi'in, we reject him and his understanding. If he persists upon what he is saying and knowing that it is opposing the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we turn away from him. So if the understanding is in line with the understanding of our pious predecessors, then it is maqbool, it is accepted. The moment it opposes, like the Imam used to say, that if you see my understanding opposes, the hadith, then throw my understanding against the wall. The Imam rahimahullah ta'ala, they never preached fanaticism. They never preached taqleed. It was always about al-ittiba', following the proofs. And looking into the proofs. And giving tarjih to that which is aswab, more correct. ثم الحفظ. Then you must memorize. Then you must memorize. Memorization is very important, and we start with the memorization of the Quran, and then the memorization of the mutun, the sunnah, and it is the backbone of a talib al-ilm, al-hifz. Knowledge is not that which is in the books, but knowledge is that which is in the heart. So we give importance to al-hifz, memorization. ثم العمل, then action. Then action. You act upon what you learn. Because if you do not act upon it, it will be against you. Al-Quran imma laka wa alayk. ثم النشر, then you spread the knowledge. Then you spread the knowledge. You teach the knowledge. Now we have seen here some tertib with regards to the stages of knowledge. Doesn't mean that when you're in the first stage you can't do the others. No, it doesn't mean that. Doesn't mean that you have to understand before you can memorize. No. It's also to indicate the importance. And in this taqdeem wa ta'khir, and you'll see that also with regards to some of the scholars in the statements of this affair, like Sufyan al-Thawri says, ثم أول العلم الصمت ثم الاستماع ثم الحفظ. نعم. ثم العمل به ونشره وتعليمه. Similar statement. And you can only act upon something if you know it, if you understood it, isn't it? So if this taqdeem wa ta'khir with regards to the sifilabas, but it's to show the importance and that you put everything in its place and that there is a system. Right? So for example, أول العلم النية, أول العلم الصمت, أول العلم that you first rectify your niyyah, that you keep quiet and then you listen. Right? Does that mean now you can't give da'wah and you can't spread what you have learned? No. It is indicating to us that you are in your first stage of knowledge and your wadhifa, your job is not now to call as a da'iyah, which is a da'iyah to the message of the people, right? But rather, you are in your first stage and you need to do da'wah within your capability. And don't exit your ability. Right? So you have someone, each and every person, every Muslim is a da'iyah. He is a caller to Islam. Or rather, that's how it's supposed to be. But not everyone is going to take a public platform. You see what I mean? So if you're in your first stages, then do da'wah within your ability. Don't now start learning knowledge and then you open a Facebook, a YouTube account and you put your shimag and you start giving dars and portraying as you're an alim. اتق الله. أول العلم النية. أول العلم الصمت. And after that, al-istima'. You listen. You restrict yourself to the ulama, to ahlul ilm, and you learn from them. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says in one hadith, التأني من Allah, that being patient and forbearing, then this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالْعَجَلَةُ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ, and being hasty, then this is from shaitan. This is from shaitan. Don't be hasty. Your time will come, ya talib al-ilm. We know we are overwhelmed with our zeal for knowledge and love for Islam. So we start doing things that are inappropriate. So let us take our time. Be humble. Don't portray as if you're an alim. Everyone knows that whoever says that he's an alim, that he's a jahil, isn't it? So now there's another way of doing it. Because if I'm directly going to say that I'm an alim, then people are going to reject you. So I take the indirect route. Taqillah, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's number one with yourself. Number two, pay attention. So I don't say I'm an alim, but I brainwash you in thinking that I'm an alim. For example, if something is wajib, it is wajib. Something mustahab is mustahab. If I say that this thing which is mustahab is wajib, are you going to accept it? You're going to reject it, isn't it? But now, I don't say that it is wajib. This thing which is mustahab, I don't say that it is wajib. But I give an impression that it is wajib. Right? Your mu'amala of that thing is as if it is wajib. This is unhealthy. This is unhealthy. If something is mustahab, we put it in its place and يعني كل شيء في محله. That is hikmah. Isn't it? Do not have an approach to the people with regards to sunnah as if it is wajib. No. What is upon you is to convey. What is upon you is to encourage. But do not regard something as something else. يعني وضع شيء في غير محله. So coming back to our point. So I'm not going to say I'm an alim. I want the people to think that I'm an alim. So I use an indirect way. Right? Indirect way. Indirect way, a salib which you use, to indoctrinate the people, to put you on the pedestal of an alim. You talib al-ilm, you need to fear this. Look at your heart, do introspection. Look at your heart. You are talib al-ilm, you are talib al-ilm. Keep yourself as a talib al-ilm. Do not portray yourself as an alim. So know your place. أول العلم النية, we were speaking about, for those who came late, we were speaking about the manhaj of Ahl al-Hadith. And we see the manhaj of Ahl al-Hadith is that there is tadarruj for talib al-ilm. There is tadarruj for talib al-ilm. You take knowledge gradually. You learn the small masail before the big masail. And this is the door of a Rabbi. يعلم يعني الصغائر قبل الكبائر. The small masail before the big masail. Right? You cannot just enter into knowledge. Now you want to speak about big things. You need to stop yourself. من حسن إسلام المرء ترك ما لا يعلم. From the excellence of the Islam of a person is that he does not enter into matters which does not concern him. You talib al-ilm, a beginner, a student of knowledge, but then you want to speak about the wulatul umur. No, they should do this, and no, they should do this. The ulama must do this, the ulama must do that. Ittaqillah, you talib al-ilm. Let them know that you find awam. They don't know anything about knowledge. They don't know anything about politics. They don't know what is the history. They don't know what happens behind doors. And they say, no, but they must do this. No, they must do that. Who are you? You know what is the problem? You have placed yourself on a pedestal whereby you think that your views are valued. That is how. You don't know what is happening. You're judging your views upon what you see in the media, and this media is being controlled by the kuffar, it's being controlled by the Jews. So keep your opinions to yourself. So Abdullah ibn Mubarak says, أول العلم النية. The first stage in knowledge is نية تصحيح النية, and we elaborated with regards to this affair. Niyyah, correctness of the niyyah is through having a niyyah that I want to remove jahl from myself and I want to remove jahl from others. Once you have a niyyah, I want to be on the pedestal, I want to be in front, I want the people to look at me, I want the people to honor me, I want to, challenge the ulama, that this is not sincerity when it comes to knowledge. Then he says, ثُمَّ الْإِسْتِمَاعِ. Then you listen, you just listen, you learn. You learn. ثُمَّ الْفَهَمِ. And then you understand. In some other places, the ulama, they say, like Sufyan al-Thawri, ثُمَّ الْإِسْتِمَاعِ ثُمَّ الْحِفْظ. But Al-Mubarak, he says, الْفَهَمْ ثُمَّ الْحِفْظ. If there's تقديم وتأخير, لا بأس بذلك. In fact, when a child is, when we're making tarbiyah of a child, we will make taqdeem of hifz. I remember Shaykh Muhammad bin Hadi al-Madkhali once he mentioned that when we were little we used to memorize and we didn't understand. Only later on we started understanding. So لا بأس بذلك. ثم العمل, then action. ثم النشر, and then you call. What does this mean? Does this mean now I'm a beginner, student of knowledge, I can't give da'wah? Doesn't mean that. If you're a beginner, student of knowledge, you give da'wah within your ability. Likewise, the talib al-ilm, the kibar talib al-ilm, also everyone remains in the da'irah. But when you reach that stage of nashr, that is now when that is become your wadhifa. That is your job. That is what you occupy yourself with mostly, because you have gone through them all. Right? So from the manhaj of Ahlul Hadith is that we have at-ta'anni. We are gradual. We have patience. We are not hasty, because al-ajalatu min ash-shaytan. Right? Al-ajalatu min ash-shaytan. We return to our topic. And like I said, I always start my darsa with some methodology of Ahlul Hadith. They are close to my heart. Wherever they are in the dunya, Ahlul Hadith wal Athar, the people of Hadith. And we need to beautify ourselves with the manahij, with the different principles within the principles of Ahlul Hadith. And manhaj, every time you say Fulan is upon the yes, talking about this manhaj is weak. Right? Because they haven't understood Ahlul Hadith. When you understand Ahlul Hadith, then issues of manhaj becomes easy. Issues of manhaj becomes easy. Like for example, in the duruus of like for example, Kullat al-Hadith, you study, it's about, you can't take knowledge from this one, you must look at him, kadib adala, dabt adala, you look at all of these things. So now when you listen to the ulama, and they say, no, Fulan, he has erred, you cannot take knowledge from him. You suffer. Because this is the way that you have already been molded upon that. Understand? So we find that once you understand the manhaj of Ahlul Hadith, issues of our current day issues in terms of interaction, it becomes easy. It becomes easy. طيب. We return to our topic. الولاء والبراء، الموالاة والمعاداة. أهل السنة والجماعة يقسمون الناس في الموالاة والمعاداة إلى 3 أقسام. When we look at الموالاة والمعاداة, then people are 3 categories. Number 1, من يستحق الولاء والحب مطلقا. Those who are worthy and they deserve love, association, aid, nearness, they deserve it mutlaqan, generally, without any exception. Who are these people? هم المؤمنون. These are the believers. We love them, we associate with them, we be with them, wherever they are. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Oh, you believe. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be with those who are truthful. Who are truthful? They are those who ascribe to the pure teachings of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Those who are truthful to Allah by establishing His rights. Those who are truthful to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam by establishing His rights. Tajreed al-mutaba'ah. Those who are truthful towards their brothers. They are truthful towards mankind. They are not deceiving and deceptive. These are the truthful ones. And you be with them. Allah is instructing us to be with them. And in no way are we saying any person needs to be perfect. In no way are we saying any person, as long as we see zahiran, that the person is striving to be truthful, then we judge upon what is apparent. We judge upon what is apparent. Therefore, when we look at adala, then Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala brings a very holistic definition of al-adala. He says it's غلبة الخير على الشر. غلبة الخير على الشر. And it's from the mutaqaddimun. It is that where you're good, it overpowers your evil. Indicating that if you err and you make mistakes, it does not remove adala from you. Right? As long as you are a person trying. Right? And in no way, because كل بني آدم خطاء. Let's start there first and foremost. كل بني آدم خطاء. Right? So you're going to make mistakes. Right? So غلبة, Imam Shafi says with regards to غلبة الخير على الشر. And when you look at the ta'aleem of Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar and other than him, you will find that his ta'aleem somehow indicates that a person must be upon this standing. You know, where there's mulazamatu taqwa al-muru'a wa taqwa Allah Azza wa Jal, which is difficult. You're not going to find someone who's 100% from point A to point Z, you know, upon taqwa and muru'ah. He might slip. Therefore, we need to make tawbah. We need to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the people who who deserve our mu'alat are the believers, irrespective, you know, their color, irrespective, their bank balance. We love all believers. We love all believers. The ones who believe in Allah and they believe in the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They establish tawheed and they establish the following of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَقَامُوا بِشَاعِرِ الدِّينِ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ. And they uphold and they carry out the symbols of Al-Islam, and they are sincere in that. Min sha'ar al-Islam is tawheed, min sha'ar al-Islam is as-salah, all of the symbols, the aspects of deen, they strive to uphold it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهِ, that indeed only Allah is your wali, wa rasul, and the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and those who believe. الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ, the ones who establishes the salah, وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةِ, and they establish and pay the zakah, وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ, and they are prostrating. They are a people of prostration. وَمَنْ يَتَوَلَّ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فَإِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. And whoever turns away from Allah and His Messenger, and those who believe, they abandon them, they deceive them, فَإِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. They know that of the party of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be victorious. They will be victorious. Allah is encouraging us in this ayah and many other ayat that we need to love the believers. We need to be with them. And that they are truly deserving of love. They are truly deserving of love. ثانيا من يستحق الولاء من جهة والبراء من جهة. يستحق الولاء من جهة والبراء من جهة أخرى. That he deserves love from one side, one aspect, and hatred from another aspect. And we've mentioned this myself. That it is possible that you establish in one person al-wala wal bara. But the example the Shaykh mentions here is هم العصاة المؤمنين. هم عصاة المؤمنين. They are the sinners from amongst the believers. فتجتمع فيهم المحبة والعداوة. So with regards to the believers who are sinners, love and hatred, it is found within him. It is found with regards to this individual. You love, يحبون, that they are loved, يحبون, they are loved, لما فيه من الإيمان, due to the iman. What they have from iman, you love them for that. And ya ikhwan, as long as the person has iman in him, it is his person of tawheed, that will always encourage you and always spur you on, you know, to forgive him, to accommodate you, to help him and to assist him. How is it that a believer, he errs and he oppresses you, but then he comes to you, asks for forgiveness, and he repents and he changes his ways, but you are not able to forgive him? This is not Islam. When you look at the believer who has erred, always look at this as an individual of tawheed. Tawheed, a person who establishes the tawheed, al-rububiyyah, wal-uluhiyyah, wal-asma' wal-sifat. And this is something, when you forgiving a Muslim, this is something which is general. But the Muslim who is a Salafi, because when you talk about Muslims, the majority of the Muslims are awam. So we must have that softness towards them. But if a person is a Salafi, and he has urged, and he came back to the ranks of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, it is upon you to forgive him and to monitor him. To monitor him. You must monitor him. And then when he checks out that this person, he truly repented, that is where now, you can fully endorse him. Not just endorse people. So they are the ones, they are loved because of their iman, because of their ta'ah, because of their taqwa. And they are hated لِمَا فِيهِ مِنَ الْمَعْصِيَةِ. They are hated because of what they have within them from ma'siyah, wal-fujur, and transgression, and sin. التي هي دون الكفر, which is besides kufr wa shirk. This is with regards to the believers. Because if a believer he falls into kufr and shirk, this is something now which is grave, isn't it? Because he was upon Islam, he was upon Tawheed, and there's a mu'amala with regards to this individual, isn't it? Now if a person is upon kufr, and you found him upon kufr, and there's qaraba between you, it's not the same mu'amala. And we have mentioned that the mahabba that you would have for a believer is a mahabba of ibadah. And it is also mahabba tabi'iyya. Because when you love a mahabba, the ibadah, automatically there's that natural love that you would have for him. But at times you would have this mahabba tabi'iyya, which is free from mahabba diniyya, due to qaraba, relation, which you have with your mother, for example. And this is something which will not be taken to task for. We are not the robots. You become a Muslim, and then now you must just turn off the button. I don't love you anymore. No. You can still love, but it should be a natural love. That love that is free from deen. And you still hate that individual because of his kufr. You still hate him for that. And that love, you do not leave it untamed. You tame it. You put on the bridle. You tame it with the vision of da'wah and the objective of da'wah. Without compromising your deen. Oh mother, I love you, but I love Allah and His Rasul more. Then the second category is من يستحق البراء والبغض المطلق. The one who is deserving of al-bara' wal-bughd mutlaqan. The first category was they deserve al-wala. The first one was they deserve al-wala wal-hub, association and love mutlaqan, the believers. Second one, they deserve al-wala, love from one angle, because maybe it's because they're believers, or maybe they are family. And from another jihad, you hate them because of their kufr. Alright? The third category is which is the opposite of number one. يستحق البراء والبغض المطلق. Mutlaqan, generally, so incomplete. You dislike them and hate them and disassociate yourself from them. Mutlaqan. And these are the kuffar al-khullas. Right? And we have mentioned that from this is exempted when we love them, the love of محبة طبيعية. محبة طبيعية. People, we discussed this mas'ala and we mentioned it, right? Don't go to town with this mas'ala and let shaitan deceive you and make you now feel that it's okay and you just open the doors of interaction. No. You need to limit and watch yourself when you interact with the kuffar. And this is something which is general. You're going to find yourself at a crossroads. And then because maybe you don't have the knowledge, you have to go either this way or that way. al-ifrat al-tafrit. No, there's no ifrat wala tafrit in the deen of Allah. What is upon you is at-tawassut. And the first step of at-tawassut is that you understand the masala as is. You understand the masala as is. It's the first thing. And then tawassut must be in your actions. So these are the three categories with regards to Al-Wala Wal Bara. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, with regards to Al-Wala Wal Bara, or before we get to the ayah, so the ones who deserve our bara wal bughd mutlaqan, they are the kuffar al-khullas alladhina yadhharu kufruhum wa shirkuhum. They are the ones, their kufr and their shirk, it is apparent. Their kufr and their shirk, it is apparent. Wa zandaqatuhum, as well as the zandaqa, the apostasy. وعلى الخلاف وعلى اختلاف أجناسهم وأنواعهم. And this is general, including, all types and forms with regards to this affair. من اليهود والنصارى, whether they are Yahud or they are Nasara, and this is the asl. والمشركين, those who ascribe partners unto Allah, والملحدين, and the atheists, والوثنيين, and the idolaters, all of them, we hate them مطلقا. والمجوس, and the fire worshippers, والمنافقين, and the hypocrites, والمتكبرين على Allah, and those who are arrogant with regards to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we hate them. أو من تبعهم من أصحاب المذاهب, or those who follow them from the various groups, al-haddama, which are destroying to the ummah, wal-ahzab al-ilmaniyah, and the groups who, the secularist groups, those who they reject Islam and they reject the religion, and they feel that when it comes to matters of the dunya, then there is no religion, right? So we hate and we disassociate ourselves from these people, mutlaqan. Some people would say hate is a strong word. Imagine someone violates the rights of your father. He wrongs him. Are you going to smile with that individual? Are you going to love that individual? You're not going to love that. Yeah, the individual, he violated the rights of Allah. He has violated the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we're going to have to have this belief towards him. And don't get me wrong, having this belief does not mean that you must oppress them, that you must violate their rights. No. Because they still have rights over you. The kafir, whom you must have this al-bara with, this hatred and this disassociation, he still has rights over you. And you must fulfill these rights. Alright? And from the rights which he has over you is that you must call him to al-Islam. And when you want to call him to al-Islam, you must have good akhlaq with him, isn't it? Especially in this Darul al-Kufr. When you listen to the ulama and they speak about al-Wala Wal Bara, it's very important that you must pay attention to something. Is that when they speak about this mas'ala, they speak about it in a context whereby they are addressing people who are in the Darul Islam. Alright? So they will come over a bit harder because their situation is different to our situation. Alright? So don't go now on YouTube and refer to certain fatwa and say, no, what we have mentioned is opposition. They are referring to a certain context, right? And whatever we have mentioned it only what we have learned from our mashayikh. Right? Only what we have learned from our mashayikh. Right? So we tread the middle path. وهذا الحكم ينطبق أيضا على من فعل المكفرات من المرتدين المنسوبين إلى الإسلام. This ruling it also applies to those who have done actions of kufr from the murtaddeen والمنسوبين إلى الإسلام and those who ascribe to Islam. كوقوعه في ناقض من نواقض الإسلام, like falling into a nullifier from the nullifiers of Islam. أو أشرك بالله تعالى في عبادته, or he associated partners into Allah subhanahu in worship. Anyone يعني من عباده, doesn't matter who he is. أو صرف لهم نوعا من أنواع العبادة, or he directed an act of worship from the worships of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كدعاء غير الله, like dua for other than Allah subhanahu, dua to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is shirk. So you find some Muslims ascribe to Islam and they make dua to other than Allah. والدعاء عبادة, as in the hadith which comes in Sunan al-Tirmidhi, which is sahih. الدعاء هو العبادة. Dua is in fact worship. So you cannot make dua to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So there is that al-Wala Wal Bara, even with regards to Muslims who have deviated. We have deviated. Therefore, we do not sit with Ahlul Bid'ah. We do not interact with them to the extent that we do not associate with them. We do not associate with them. Yes, we can interact with them. Yes, we can interact with Ahlul Bid'ah. Yes, sometimes we can sit with them also. Alright? But it must be a mujalasa of munasah, and don't lie to yourself. You have a mujalasa to al-muwadda, a sitting of love and friendship, was sadaqa, this is my friend, we sip tea, we talking, we laughing. This is not allowed with Ahlul Bid'ah. But a mujalasa of nasiha, which will open the doors of khair, then this is allowed. But very important, don't fool yourself. Tell yourself, no, I'm sitting for nasiha. But you want what they have. You want what they have. طيب. أو الاستغاثة بغير الله, they seek, make istighatha, they seek help from other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That help which is sought in extreme difficulty. أو التوكل, or they trust in other than Allah, and tawakkul is an ibadah. So they direct these worship to other than Allah. أو الذبح, أو النظر, or whether it is slaughtering for other than Allah or taking an oath to other than Allah. They direct these forms of worship to other than Allah. We must have this al-bara with regards to them. أو سب الله ورسوله أو دينه, or they swear Allah and His Messenger or the religion. أو ترك الصلاة المفروضة, or they abandon salah, which is wajib, which is compulsory. أو فصل الدين عن الحياة, or they separate the deen from hayat, like the secularists, al-almaniyah, اعتقادا بأن الدين لا يلائم هذا العصر, by believing that this deen is not appropriate or in agreement with our current times. This is what they say. We say that this deen is صالح لكل زمان والمكان. It is appropriate and it is practiced in every time and place. صالح, appropriate لكل زمان ومكان. أو نحو ذلك بعد إقامة الحجة, after we have established the proof against them, then we need to take extreme measures. فعلى المسلمين أن يجاهدوا هذا النوع من المرتدين. So the believers, they must wage war against these type of hypocrites. They must wage war against them. Ya Ikhwan, we need to understand what the ulama say in its context. We need to understand what the ulama. Here they say that we must wage war against them. War is only waged under a Muslim ruler. Under a Muslim ruler. We in South Africa here, we cannot now say, we must wage war against the Murtaddeen and then start taking the law into our own hands. No. You are in a baladun kafir, a kafir country, and there's an agreement between you and the country, so you need to obey. You need to abide by that agreement. Al-Muslim ala shuruti. When you accept this passport, you accept that I will not harm any citizen you're going to live in harmony. You're in this country, so you're going to have to al-Muslimu ala shuruti. If you're not happy with that shurut, you can make hijrah, and that is what is required, and we're going to come to that. But not everyone has the ability to make hijrah, right? And not everyone has to make hijrah because he has a much greater role in the country, and we will come to that. So, jihad, it is sanctioned by Wali Wal Amr. وَإِذَا اسْتُنْفِرْتُمْ فَانْفِرُوا. By whom? By the Wali Wal Amr. When you are called for jihad, you must go, but that is through the Wali Wal Amr. So, what can we do? وَإِعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. Prepare for it what you have from quwwah. And the first thing which you can prepare is rectify your aqidah and rectify the aqidah of your people and call them to the sunnah. And if you have problems with the Wali al-Amr, or maybe you feel that he's not doing, Man ra'a min amirihi shay'an yakrahuhu falyasbir. If you see something which you dislike from your Amir, from the Wali al-Amr, you should have patience. That is what is the standard. That is the default. The Prophet ﷺ is asked, he told the Sahaba that there will come a time where the rulers will be oppressive. And they asked, what must we do? The Prophet ﷺ, he said, fulfill what is upon you. Fulfill what is upon you. Addu ma alaykum. Fulfill what is upon you. You fulfill what is upon you, what is required from you, and that is as-sam wa ta'ah. And what they do, that is between them and Allah. That is between them and Allah. Hadithun sahih. ولا يتركوهم يعيثون في الأرض فسادا. And they do not leave the Muslims. They do not leave these individuals to spread their falsehood and their corruption in the lands. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nabi, jahid al-kuffar wal-munafiqeen. Wage war against the kuffar and the munafiqeen, waghlud alayhim, and be severe upon them. وَمَأْوَهُمْ جَهَنَّمْ وَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرِ. And their abode is the hellfire, and how evil is their abode. And how evil is their abode. So let us understand this issue of al-jihad. I remember once in the halaqat of Shaykh Rabi' ibn Hadi al-Madkhali that he mentioned that al-jihadu qa'imun ila qiyam as-sa'ah. That jihad is something part of Islam, and it should be established until qiyamah. Whether it is jihad al-talab or jihad al-dafa'. It cannot be removed from Islam. Many people say, look at these Saudis, they took jihad from the syllabus. No, it's still a part of the syllabus. Our ulama still preaching it. Whether it's jihad al-talab, jihad where you go out, or jihad al-dafa where you just defend, it is part of Islam. But then he said, in order to establish jihad, there are shurut, and there are qawa'id, there are principles, and there are conditions in order for jihad to take place. Don't think that you see a group of Muslims fighting, that it is jihad. No. The first thing when it comes to jihad is al-jihad, and the one who fights in the path of Allah is the one who fights لِتَكُونَ كَلِمَةُ اللَّهِ الْعُلْيَا. That the word of Allah should be high and triumphant. The Ikhwan al-Muslimin, they used to say, we want Khilafah, we want Muslim country. But then when they took power, you would still find brothels, you would still find places of liquor. So what they wanted was the kursi. So there are shurut and qawa'id. And you know what? This is the advice of a true mujahid, and not a laptop mujahid. Shaykh Rabi' Hafizahullah, he went to Afghanistan. He was there. He fought. He knows what he's talking about. Not these people who just play for lip service. No? It's easy to sound brave on the computer. It's easy. These people who are spreading the fitna, they are not true in what they are saying. They are cowards. As long as I'm driving a big car in UK, And this is what's happening. I'm driving a big car in UK, my children is going to private schools, I'm eating, I'm walking. You see some pictures of some of these deviant du'as, walking with grocery packets. Other people are dying and suffering. Hamas, what they did? After they waged their war, they went to go and hide. The Sahaba, what they did? They go out for war and they preserve the women. They preserve the children. It's completely opposite. You know why? Because they're working for Israel. They're working for Israel. So be upon knowledge. Be upon knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and we will conclude with this ayah, لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله. That you do not find a people believing in Allah in the last day who loves those who oppose Allah. So if someone loves who oppose Allah, a believer cannot love him. A believer cannot love him. وَلَوْ كَانُوا آبَاءَهُمْ, even if they are their fathers, أو أبناءهم أو إخوانهم وعشيرتهم, even if they are their fathers, their children, their brothers, or their tribe members. أُولَٰئِكَ كَتَبَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمُ الْإِيمَانِ. These are the ones whom Allah has written in their hearts iman, وَأَيَّدَهُمْ بِرُوحٍ مِّنْهُ, and Allah has supported them with aid. وَيُدْخِلُهُمْ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِنْ تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for them and will enter them into Jannah, which rivers flows beneath it, خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ, Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah. أُولَٰئِكَ حِزْبُ اللَّهِ, this is the party of Allah. أَلَا إِنَّ حِزْبَ اللَّهِ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. So when Allah speaks about, even if they are your fathers, this is with regards to the love which is ibadah. Even if they are your fathers, you're not allowed to have this love for them. You cannot endorse them because they have disbelieved in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us tawfiq and understanding. ونكتفي بهذا القدر وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين.